Tallinn, Estonia's long-established harbor, is a lovely and scenic city to visit, with a fascinating past to discover. It is located on the Baltic Sea, directly across the Gulf of Finland from Helsinki, and to the east of St. Petersburg. People have long been drawn to its coasts by its strategic location, and the city is today a famous tourist destination. Tallinn, the country's capital and largest city, offers a diverse range of activities and attractive sights, with churches, castles, and cathedrals coexisting with magnificent palaces and medieval merchants' homes. These are from diverse periods, as the city has been ruled by everyone from the Swedes and Danes to the Germans and Soviets over the years. Aside from its lovely old town, there are plenty of amazing restaurants and bars to visit, as well as several fantastic museums. With our video of things to do in Tallinn, you can plan your sightseeing in this fascinating city. Number 1. Old Town. Tallinn's Old Town is a fascinating sight to visit, with many magnificent medieval structures dating from the 15th to the 17th centuries. You'll find evocative cobblestone alleyways, lovely cathedrals, and historical landmarks hemmed in by the city walls that surround it, as well as a plethora of wonderful taverns, restaurants, and cafes. Its centuries-old buildings are well preserved and display a variety of architectural styles, while its interesting museums take you on a journey through the city's and country's rich history and legacy. Despite the fact that it is now fairly touristy, the Old Town is worth seeing because of the numerous magnificent things it has to offer. You'll feel like you've stepped into a fairy tale as you walk through its magnificent old streets. 2. Town Hall Square. Tallinn's lively Town Hall Square is the city's pulsating heart, and much of activity swirls around it. The large square is surrounded by cafes, bars, and restaurants, and regular markets are held in its center. Lined by fantastic old medieval buildings, of which the Town Hall is an undoubted highlight. The large square is ringed by cafes, bars, and restaurants, and regular markets are held in its center. There is plenty to see and do, whether it's stopping for a drink or a bite to eat at one of its businesses or purchasing souvenirs at the market. And many of the city's most famous landmarks are just a short walk away. Winter is one of the most wonderful times to come. The plaza has been home to a Christmas tree display since 1441, and its Christmas market has long been regarded as one of the greatest in Europe. 3. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. With its crimson walls, dazzling white decorations, and black onion domes, Alexander Nevsky Cathedral was only completed in 1900, when Estonia was still a part of the Russian Empire. The cathedral, which sits atop Toompia Hill, features superb Russian Revival architecture, as well as wonderful woodwork iconostases and magnificent mosaics. The cathedral was long viewed as a symbol of oppression by Estonians, and it was intended to be demolished after independence in 1924, due to its prominent and possibly offensive position atop the hill. Thankfully, these intentions were never carried out, and the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral has since become one of the city's most prominent tourist attractions. 4. Toompia Hill. Despite just rising 20 or 30 meters above the rest of the old town, Toompia Hill has long been associated with power and distinction due to its conspicuous and strategic location. A multitude of interesting and impressive historical sites can be found on top of the little limestone mount, including Toompia Castle, St. Olafs Church, and Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. The mound, which is said to be the resting site of Kalev, an Estonian mythological figure, is a fascinating place to explore. It not only has many magnificent historic structures, but it also has some fantastic views of the city. 5. St. Catherine's Passage. St. Catherine's Passage is a small yet picturesque alley that is enchanting to meander along. It appears as if it has been kept unspoiled and unchanged for ages. The cobblestone tunnel connects Veen to Murava Street and is named after the old church it runs alongside. It is bordered by several magnificent medieval structures. Its historic buildings, which once housed guilds, now house workshops and studios where visitors may witness artists create pottery, glassware, leather goods, and textiles. In addition to purchasing exquisite handcrafted gifts, there is a little cafe where you can sit and take in the lovely architecture and ambience. 6. City Wall. The city wall that encircles the old town was first built in the 13th century, but it was later expanded and strengthened by subsequent monarchs. It is one of Europe's best preserved city walls, punctuated by gates and guard towers, and makes for a stunning and forbidding sight. In addition to admiring the powerful defensive walls, there is a short section of the wall that may be walked along, providing spectacular views of the old town. 7. Viru Gate. The Twin Towers of Viru Gate, the principal entrance to the old town, were built in the 14th century and were formerly part of a larger system of gates and towers. The gates towers, which are in excellent condition, lead to Viru Street, a popular pedestrian street lined with small boutiques, cafes, and street stalls. Entering the old town through the ivy-covered stone towers is undoubtedly a memorable first impression of Tallinn that will be remembered for a long time. 8. Cathedral Park. The large Cathedral Park, located on the outskirts of the city and just a stone's throw from the Baltic Sea, is a really attractive and picturesque spot to meander about. The park, which was commissioned by Peter the Great in 1718, is home to a variety of beautiful trees and flower beds, as well as statues, fountains, and ponds. The lovely Petrine Baroque Cathedral Palace, tucked away among all the lovely landscape, currently houses an art museum as well as other outstanding institutions such as the Kumu and Mikkel Museum. 9. Seaplane Harbour. Seaplane Harbour, now part of the Estonian Maritime Museum, was created in 1916 to shelter Peter the Great's seaplanes. Its huge concrete interior, which stretches out before you, is a majestic sight, and is intriguingly lit up with lights that wouldn't appear out of place at a nightclub. The huge collection, which includes vintage vessels, submarines, and of course, seaplanes, is magnificent to look through, with some of them dating back to World War I. Aside from the hundreds of planes and boats on display, the museum also has some fun flying and submarine simulators, as well as an outdoor harbor with more ships and yachts. 10. St. Olaf's Church. This magnificent church, named for King Olaf II of Norway, is Tallinn's largest intact medieval structure. It was built in the 1200s and, despite being struck by lightning several times throughout the centuries, it is still in astonishingly fine shape. Its towering spire rises to a height of 123 meters, making it one of the world's tallest structures. You may get a bird's eye perspective of the city from the top of it. Despite the fact that the interior is harsh and sparsely adorned, it is still worth visiting to view some of the stunning stone carvings on display.